Random video subject day. Minecraft from me? But let me cook, I think I might have found something. Before I start, if you are wondering about when the next episode of Vita Carnis is, stick around till the end of the video. I will discuss more there. I was watching Minecraft Live and I made it to the part about the dried ghast, a little block that spawns in the soul sand valleys in the nether. And in the video, it shows it generated in one of the naturally spawned fossils, which grabbed my attention. And it showed you how you can resuscitate it with water, which can lead to possible conclusions. The ghasts are not native creatures to the nether, also grabbing my attention. Seeing these things unlocked a core memory I had in the days when I first started posting my art online. Back when the Warden was first announced in Minecraft, I was working on a small creature design project. We have all seen the Minecraft, but if it was realistic videos when we were young, and as an aspiring artist, I too dabbled in realistic Minecraft designs. One of the things that had my interest though, were the fossils. If you don't know what that is, that's fair since they're super rare and only spawn in certain biomes in the overworld. You probably didn't even know they were there. But fossils are structures of bones and ore that spawn underground in the overworld and in soul sand valleys in the nether. So I was curious. What were these creatures? What would they look like? And diving into it, I uncovered some potential theories that I came up with. I still even have my project sheets to this day, and seeing this Minecraft Live reminded me of these pages. So I thought, screw it, I want to turn this into a video and use my current knowledge of anatomy and drawing to explore their potential designs. So, in today's vid, I'll be exploring the mystery of Minecraft's lost titans and what they could have looked like. First, let's take a look at these fossils. I've reconstructed each fossil as best I can from both overworld and nether. The overworld has 4 variations of skull and 4 variations of spines. The nether has 13 types of ribs and 1 sternum. For some reason. Looking at the whole roster of fossils gives me a few insights on their potential anatomy and how to design them. A. There are only these types of bones. Nothing like claws, pelvises, limbs, or other major bones. Just skulls, spines, and ribs. Not even the most stereotypical bone design. Mojang didn't even add that. They easily could have, but why not? They could have just not added more bone types, I guess, but not even this? So for now, I will say it was intentional. Next, looking at the skulls, they all have some distinct features. They all have forward-facing eyes. Well, eye for this skull. It could be like an elephant skull with a nose hole, but the Minecraft wiki clearly states that it's an eye. They all have mouth holes. Could it be that they don't have jaws? Or is this like normal Minecraft skulls? Anyway, moving on. Next, I will dive into what kind of animals they could be. I've seen a few theories online and tried to apply them. Theory 1. The fossils in the nether are ghasts. Since Minecraft Live, I've seen many people make animations and artworks of dried ghasts. Some people conclude that the bones were of ghasts' parents that died, and I instantly thought, no! Ghasts are too small compared to the nether fossil structures. They even fit inside some of them, and I doubt a creature that floats like a balloon would have giant blocks of bones inside of them. Theory 2. The fossils are the remains of the giant mob. I also wasn't able to apply this since the spines alone in the overworld are taller than the giant itself, so these creatures were much bigger. Theory 3. The fossils are of ender dragons. Again, the ender dragon is smaller than the fossil itself, and we are missing a variety of bones. Theory 4. The fossils belong to giant withers. This one has some potential. Looking at the wither's design, only skulls, a spine with some ribs, it does fit the standard. One thing that kind of shakes this theory is that withers are made using the skulls of another existing mob, and are built like a golem. So I think withers are more of a man-made abomination of nature, rather than a species. Plus, we would see skulls similar to the wither skulls scattered around, though the idea of a giant wither with giant animal skulls sounds super badass. I decided to go to the internet for help. I found a video by Wi-Fi's, I don't know how to pronounce the name, sorry, on YouTube talking about fossils. He came to a few very similar conclusions and a few different ones. He also dived into some lore, which I will also do later. I will link his video in the description below, go check it out. So in the end, I think it's safe to conclude that the fossils are their own distinct species. But I came up with my own theory. What if They were serpents. If you lined up all the spines, you would get a long body similar to a snake. And there are a lot of snakes with distinct face shapes. It could work. And nether portals can only be a maximum of 23 by 23, meaning only something could slither through a portal of that size. But I missed something. Something important. One single thing. The sternum. Snakes don't have sternums. Fuck! That's okay. I just need to find out which animals have ribs, spines, and a sternum. Fish? Nope. No sternum. Whales? Most don't have sternums, but orcas do. But then again, their skulls are too long. Plus they have limbs. Wait, guardians! They have one eye, like in that one skull. But they don't have mouths. It could be centipedes or millipedes, but they have exoskeletons, not bones. Worm? But no bones! At this point, it's entirely possible that this is just a fantasy creature, but I need some sort of reference. I had to dive deep for this. The only animal I could find that was limbless and a vertebrate and had a sternum was a lamprey. They have ribs and a sternum. Fucked up looking skulls though. Then it clicked. Each skull was missing a lower jaw, meaning they could just have holes. Holes for sucking. Then it also clicked. Remember earlier how I said I would dive into the lore? This fits in. So let's get into that and connect the dots along the way. Soul sand valleys are riddled with fossils. Mainly soul sand and soul soil are found here, as well as ghasts and regular skeletons. There are also fossils found in the overworld. This could imply that these titans were native to the nether but made their way into our world, but I think it's the reverse. They were trapped in the nether for unknown means. This is backed up by the theory that ghasts, aquatic, are not native to the nether and regular skeletons stand out as well. But why were they banished here? Going back to soul sand, it burns a light blue color. Something that burns light blue is natural gas or methane. This could imply that the soul sand and soil are decayed, decomposed flesh from these titans. So stuff like the two mushroom biomes and nether warts grow from the fertilizer of the decomposed body. Back to soul sand. Backed up by the soul speed effect, it shows that these blocks possibly contain the souls of the dead and could hold lots of power. This is backed up by the wither, how it is constructed with the remains of these titans, showing off this power more. Nether warts are used for potions, drawing more connections to a hidden power. Something strange as well, in ancient cities under the main structure is a line of lit soul blocks. Now that I look, the whole city is lit up by soul lanterns. This can imply that the remnants of these cities had a connection to the titans in some way. Looking back at the main structure, it looks an awful lot like a portal. Could these be doorways to the Titans' world? That means they would relate to the Skulk in some way. In a way, yes. Skulk catalysts absorb experience points from mobs that died next to them. In a way, experience might be souls to an extent. Wardens drop Skull catalysts, and looking at them, they have souls inside them too, connecting this into the effect and into the texture of soul sand. So in my conclusion, the Titans were giant, super powerful beings that had the ability to steal or suck souls. They were worshipped and treated like gods because of their magical power until they were eventually banished for some reason and ended up in the nether where they were too crowded and died, piling up in valleys, leaving behind ruins and remains of the Titans behind. But their bodies still shape the world today, with their remains fueling thriving ecosystems and magical abilities, with even the dirt they decomposed into holding such a power to reanimate the dead, which may connect to all undead Minecraft mobs in the world this way.
Why would the dead still walk? Could this be an effect of the Titans? Are this living still trying to connect and wanting to achieve immortality, bringing things to light, and...
So yeah, there was my rant. I let a little bit of my uber autism show there, didn't I? Anyways, so the Titans may look like giant soul-sucking lamprey creatures with some varieties. Well, this is an art channel, so let's draw out the designs now, eh? Starting off, I wanted to get a rough idea what each skull would look like when converted to a realistic form. This will help me place muscles and other structural parts. With a tad bit of rendering, I now have a confident understanding of the shape and frame of each skull. Skull 1, I utilized the flow of the bone texture to add a few bit of details, like vents and a segmented crown. I did the same for the rest as well, like Skull 2 having a divided nasal ridge, Skull 3's segmented face, and Skull 4's upper lip. With each skull now complete, let's add some meat to them bones. For Skull 1, I tested the grounds a bit. I tried a much more smooth approach with limited details, only highlighting wrinkles and folds on the skin. These drawings are highly speculative and rely heavily on my imagination, so I can explore around with multiple concepts. I also try to replicate a lamprey skin pattern onto Skull 1 as well, with spots along the top of the head and neck. Next, Skull 2. The structure is very interesting for Skull 2, having a much more stout shape compared to the others. It also has very interesting divots, which I tried to capture with the meat. For this skull, I try to add much more bumps, lumps, and grooves. I also try to add a bit more scale-like skin for more depth. Skull 3, I try to focus more on expression. I focused more on the facial structure rather than the intricacies. For each skull, I wanted to add a different eye shape, just so I could see the variety from skull to skull. The only textures I try to add to the skin is veins and other soft organic details. I also try to add different teeth patterns to each skull as well, just to give it a bit more personality. Skull 4 was the trickiest for me. I wasn't sure how I should structure the meat, but I wanted to go for something different than the others. I messed around with the jaw, the eye, and the muscles wrapping around the face. I redid it a few times until I got something I was happy with. I was satisfied with the end result's jaw, which was much closer to a real lamprey's suction cup. And that is each head rendered. Lastly, colors. For each head I tried a different pattern. Skull 1 was the closest to a real lamprey's pattern. Skull 2 had much more organic tones. Skull 3 I tried to match up with skulk colors like the warden. And Skull 4 I made a nice meaty red, just for fun. I also whipped up a few concept pieces to expand on these creatures and some of their details. And here we go. Here's what I think Minecraft's Lost Titans could look like. Again, this is just speculation, and any of this could be disproven with future Minecraft updates and such. If you have any ideas, theories, or other design choices, let me hear them in the comments below. Now for you patient folk wondering where Vita Carnis content is, let me tell you, it hasn't gone anywhere. I've just been busy at work finishing the last 2 episodes of Season 2. I have been slowing down a bit more recently because, 1, I am just one guy. So doing stuff like this takes time and I don't want to rush it. We all know what happens when I do that. Secondly, whenever I try to remain consistent to a schedule, life for some reason likes to strike exactly then, ruining the whole schedule thing. Taking it one step at a time has proven to be the most productive way for me to work, following the passion and all that. It really helps me avoid burnout in the end. And lastly, I've also been working on other projects beyond Vita Carnis. Other stories, smaller side stuff, merchandise, as well as ideas like this in the future. Speaking of, how do you guys like videos like this? Should I do more of them in the future? Let me know below. To wrap things up, check out my Instagram. It's my main platform where I post my artwork and updates for projects and such. Check out my Ko-fi, where I post behind the scenes and other exclusive content. And use code NEWTRIER at GamerSupps. All of these in the link in the description. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all later.